Well, let's talk about all of this now with Mark Williams-Thomas, a criminologist and child protection expert. He's with us in the studio. I can't think of another high-profile case involving a woman paedophile, and today we've not got one but two. It's so shocking.
No, it is, and of course we traditionally think of offences against children, paedophiles, being male, and by and large that's true, but we have to acknowledge that females play a significant part in the development and the care of children. In other words, they have the access and the opportunity to abuse children. Figures have been talked about 6 to 10% of offenders being female. I think it's far higher than that. I think it's probably 15 to 20% of female offenders, and a considerable amount of those offences go underreported, which is why we don't tend to know about the female offender.
Yeah, I mean, is there a particular profile for a female offender? Normally, if parents have suspicions, they tend to look at men who they feel suspicious of.
No, absolutely, and we have to understand the way that the male operates. Most male offenders operate in isolation, so this idea of paedophile rings, males working together, is very rare. They tend to work in isolation within their own home, viewing images on the internet. But when females operate, they tend to operate in a slightly different way, because they tend to operate with or for another party. So they're either operating for the sexual gratification of another male or another female. There's also important their own sexual gratification, but they do tend to work with other parties, and we've seen that today with these three people working together and sharing the images.
So it's another almost whole new area for parents to be concerned about. We need to get it into perspective. It is extremely rare, as you say, but how can parents protect their kids?
We have to get the balance. Don't forget, nursery workers, teachers, they look after millions of children a day, and they do an amazingly good job, and it's only the very small minority that bring doubt on everybody else. But that's who we have to focus on, and we have to think of the safety of children. And what I would be saying to parents is that it's down to you, as far as the responsibility goes, to ensure that your child is safe. Checks, CRB checks and new ISO are very important, and we must still continue to do them. But what we must say to parents is watch and monitor your child with an individual. So make sure that they're comfortable. Talk to other parents, make sure that other parents don't have any other concerns, because offenders will isolate children, and make sure the checking and the procedures and the policies in place. So there isn't times when care workers will be in isolation with children on their own.
But there are no guidelines on that. It seems surprising that Vanessa George was able to be on her own with kids long enough to do what she was doing.
Well, there are guidelines, but of course what happens with an offender is that they create the opportunity to be in isolation with a child. So they're very, very good, they're very cunning, they're very devious, and what they will do is they will create the opportunity. They'll take the child perhaps to the toilet on their own when they're on their own, because there isn't anybody else around at that time. So they will create the opportunities. However good those policies are, they will create the opportunities.
Okay, well, it's very interesting to talk to you. Mark Williams-Thomas, thank you very much for coming in.